G'day guys, how you doing? It's Kiwi. Yes, I'm back with another video. It's been a little while and I apologize for that. However, I have been extremely busy. Been working my tail off, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, this is a heads up video. I feel I owe it to my subscribers to at least let you know that legitimately, as of right here, right now, while you're watching this video, the Great Reset has actually started. And believe it or not, it might not be what you would predict to be the Great Reset in the eyes of Klaus Schwab, but it is a Great Reset as far as what is in control of all of this stuff. The last time we had an alignment like this, and when I mean an alignment, I mean everything is absolutely exactly the same as what it was back in 1929 that led up to the Great Depression. As of this month, the end of this month, everything is absolutely perfectly aligned for now until January next year. So, and before you think any of this is any crazy woo-woo stuff, just hang tight and hear me out here for a little bit. To give you some context, over the years I've shown my subscribers this book, this particular book right here. And this book is the Bible for these guys. But this is the Bible for the 33 degrees and above. Yeah, these guys don't stop at 33 degree. They go higher and higher and higher. I think they get up to a 72nd degree, if I remember correctly. In that book is a lot of ancient esoteric knowledge. And these guys utilize stars, the planets, ancient astrology, etc., 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 to their advantage. Okay? So if you're ever wondering or pondering about these market crashes, all this different stuff that goes on, I can 100% assure you that it is planned that way. I'm not joking in any way, shape or form. These people pretty much run our lives. And just to give you a little bit more context, these guys are in bed with a specific ethnic group of people where there was apparently 6 million of them killed during World War II, and that particular ethnic group is led by a specific group of individuals whose name starts with a Z, Zionists. These guys are in bed with those guys, and the Zs, they run the banking system. Okay, just to give you an idea. And the head of these guys, the head of this organization, is literally the British Crown. And the Zs run the banking system for the Crown. They're all like interlocked with each other, these guys. So, to give a little bit more context in regards to what I'm telling you, back in 2010, myself and a friend of mine were told about everything that's been happening between Russia and the Ukraine, everything that's been going on over there. When we were talking to that individual, he had told us that they'd just gotten done punching a number of British and American mercenaries into the Ukraine to start training up what is known as the Azov Battalion. And he explained to us what was going to be going on over there and everything like that. And I asked him, why would we be doing that? There was no mention of a war. The war is something that's been added onto that, and I'm going to do a video about that whole war and what is actually going on. However, I asked, when this individual was explaining everything to me, he said it's about starting a Cold War 2.0. And I said, why in the name of God would we start a Cold War 2.0? Why are we going to do that stuff? I thought everything was kind of status quo. Everything was running along smoothly. And he goes, I don't know, truthfully, why they want to start it. He goes, I've heard something along the lines of they want to bring an end to the globalist economy. Now, if you remember, or if some of you remember, back in end of 2019, I did a video in regards to pretty much everything that's playing out right now. I mean, the only thing that I wasn't 100% right on was the war with Iran. However, the war with Iran is still on the cards. Don't think that that has not gone away in any way, shape or form. Now, why do they want to bring an end to this globalist economy and go back to a pre-Cold War style economy? Well, it's truthfully about bringing an end to this globalist economy, 100%, because the main feeder of this globalist economy is China today. China has been a huge, huge pusher behind this whole globalist economy, and China's gotten too big for its boots. And it's very similar to how Japan got too big for its boots going into the 80s. And we all know what the United States did to Japan. The United States financially broke Japan, if I remember correctly, somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s. So what happened was, so what's happening is also there's not enough people to fund the boomers. I said in that previous video that all these market crashes and all these wars follow a spike in retirements, right? Well, this is the third year after the single largest spike in retirements, as I mentioned in that previous video. So what's happening is that because there isn't enough money in circulation, when I mean there isn't enough money in circulation, it's my generation that is now coming along that has to carry the burden, the financial burden, to fund all these investments, all this money, all this different stuff. As the boomers are now starting to die off one by one, this generation isn't big enough. Generation X, Gen X is my generation. We're such a small generation that we cannot fund. There's always some noisy little shitbox flying around when I'm trying to do a video outside, I swear. So anyway, the reality is there's not enough money coming into the investment system from us because we're such a small generation. We're called the forgotten generation. The next generation down the track is the millennials. Well, the millennials are still in the breeding phase, so they don't have any extra money for investing or anything like that. So they literally, between the issues that they've got with China getting too big for their boots, and they're not even being remotely a population big enough to carry the boomers, they have to bring it crashing down. And when I'm talking about a great reset, there's a negative aspect to it and a positive aspect to it. When I'm talking about that, we're talking about, we've got the side that these guys here, as I've mentioned before, they know a ton of ancient esoteric knowledge and ancient astrology and all this sort of stuff. So what these guys do is they'll look at these timelines that are playing out and they're like, aha, here's our window. So these guys will look at this timeline, and because they're in bed with the bankers and are also in bed with the media and everything else, they will go about setting the wheels in motion to bring the market to an absolute crash. And that's what we're talking about here. We're going to see an economic catastrophe over the next couple of months like we've never seen. I'm predicting June, July. My money's been on June, July. I said, if we aren't by the end of, in the previous video that I did in regards to this subject, I said if we're not in an economic crash or in an economic slide towards an economic crash by the, what did I say, September, October, November of 2022, then we're definitely going to be, by 23, we will have the crash. And I just found out just in this last week actually, that everything is perfectly, absolutely perfectly aligned. The last time we had an alignment this perfect in regards to starting a great reset was 1929. Everything that was set up, how it is right now, as far as a great reset is concerned, the last time this happened, the exact same alignments, was 1929, May. of 1929. So what these individuals will do is they'll look at this stuff and go, aha, okay, we've got 15 years to set everything up, get the wheels in motion, make sure this happens, everything's in place, and then once we go into this timeline, and we're going to be in this timeline till January next year, we can go pull the pins on the economy, on this, on that, on everything else, and we can have our own great reset. Because what these individuals will do is they will bring everything down, decimate as much as they possibly can. And when I tell you this, I'm telling you this genuinely and sincerely. They're utilizing God's own laws of attraction, universe, creation, whatever you want to call it, the laws of attraction actually against itself. They know that if they decimate stuff, then they can rebuild it. That's what nature does. When a storm hits an area and destroys it, it rebuilds itself. If nature gets absolutely annihilated, it rebuilds itself. Nature always bounces back. Humans, as an animal, we are part of nature. So if they decimate countries, decimate people's bank balances, if they decimate economies, if they destroy people's lives, it rebuilds itself over and over and over again. And that's what they're going to do. In all sincerity, they're going to bring everything like that. If they don't raise everything to the ground like they've done before, I'll be really surprised. However, a huge economic catastrophe is 100% on the way. And any country that is aligned with China is screwed. When you've got, say, a country like New Zealand, who basically depends on 30 to 40% of their economy is dependent on China, they're done. New Zealand's toast. Absolutely toast. So I'm just giving you a heads up. If you've got any sort of exposure to high amounts of debt or anything along that lines, I'm telling you, you need to wrap it up. Outside of that, just stash away as much cash as you possibly can. Oh, and by the way, crypto, stay the hell away from crypto. The reason why the government, especially the government in the United States, wants to get their hands on crypto isn't for what all you conspiracy theorists think and everything like that, like trying to control it, trying to have control over the banking system. The US government doesn't have control over the banking system. The banking system has control over the United States government. And the last thing the banking system that is in power right now, and just to give you an idea, the banking system is operated by a specific group of people that I mentioned before, the Z's, right? These guys are in bed balls deep with the Z's. The head of these guys is the British Crown. The Z's take care of the British Crown's banking. That's it, plain and simple. How things were ran 1,500, 2,000 years ago is still exactly the same as what it is today. Nothing's changed. So the fact of the matter is that the reason they want control over crypto, there's two reasons. First reason is it bypasses the people that are in control of the banking system, okay? And two, we don't have the infrastructure to have all this digital electrical stuff. That's another massive issue. That's why I did that video about basically the elephant in the room as far as the whole power grid and everything is concerned. So if you find this video informative, cheers. Hope it's helped in some way, shape or form. But yeah, hang tight, man. This year's going to be a real interesting one. I'm going to do a video, next video is going to be about what you younger guys can do. Because it's an awesome opportunity for you younger guys, for the younger generation, the young men, to actually start learning trades, 100%. Because we're going to go down to a pre-Cold War economy. A lot of the stuff that we've gotten used to over these last 10, 15 years, it's going to go away, 100%. Because we don't have the infrastructure forward. Take care. Talk to you soon. Cheers.